Hello and welcome to Miniature Adventures. I'm Big Lee, and this week I want to talk about having too many choices. How do you pick the right rule set? So today's video is another subscriber's questions, but it also happens to resonate with a conundrum that I am struggling with right now. Demetrius Ianu asked, I would like to see others' thought processes on games that really entertain them and get them collecting that one period. Now my interpretation of the question was, do you play a period because you like a set of rules, or do you like a set of rules that fits the period you want to collect? Now my initial response at the time was relatively simple. I tend to choose a period, or the period chooses me, who can say, and then I go hunting for a set of rules. And possibly that's the wrong way to do it. I mean, this should be an easy process, right? But of course I never do things the easy way. By the time I start looking for a set of rules, I've already got preconceived ideas of what I want from that rule set. And by that I mean I want something scale specific, or with basing it has to be a certain way, or aimed at a particular level, you know, skirmish or big battle or something in between. And inevitably this means I can't find a rule set that works just how I want them to, and I go around in circles looking for the perfect set. And that is exactly what I'm doing right now. Now, I recently mentioned that I had a trip to Bosworth Battlefield, and this instantly sparked, or rather revived, an interest in the Wars of the Roses. It's an exciting period with some beautiful heraldry to make the building of armies very interesting. And unlike my other collections, all the battlefields are in my home country, so I actually have a chance of being able to visit them. Plus, I seem to have a good track record when playing this period, especially with Stuart's 28mm collection. Of course, being a 6mm wargamer at heart, I can't ignore the excellent Bacchus range of figures. Now, I'm currently going through the process of pretending to be thinking about buying them, but who am I kidding? I will be putting in an order sooner or later. And as I've already mentioned in a video earlier in the week, probably this is going to be my painting challenge project for the winter. But now, having chosen a period and chosen a scale, I now need to find a suitable rule set to play them with. And this is where my headache is beginning to start. I'm like a rabbit in the headlights. I've got too many choices to make, unable to make the right decision, and terrified I'll jump the wrong way and regret it. As Samuel Taylor Coleridge said in his poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. Well, similarly, I am surrounded by rule sets and have the internet to make the search easier, and I still can't seem to find what I'm looking for. Now, it's worth mentioning that I have 4 basic requirements for a rule set for this particular period, but they seem to have made my life harder rather than easier. And maybe I'm just naturally indecisive, who can say. So my 4 key requirements of a rule set is it has to be either written for 6mm or adaptable for 6mm, with the minimum of effort, I hasten to add. I prefer simple, streamlined rules for faster play. I prefer free measuring rather than grid movement. And I would like a system that I can also play solo. So they are my 4 requirements. Now you'd think that that isn't too specific enough to make life difficult, but as I'm saying, I am having problems trying to find the right rule set. So what rules have I already looked at? Well, to the strongest is the obvious choice for me, as I already play it with my Punic War collection. It would be not daft not to at least consider this excellent set of rules as a possibility, and they cover the period. They go up to the medieval period. Indeed, it is my fallback position. You know, I can use those rules if I can't find anything else. But to be honest, I'd actually prefer for this particular period to go with a system that has free measuring of movement rather than movement by grid. So the next set that has come up in a few searches and I've had a brief look at so far is Hal Caesar. It looks good, but it also looks like quite a large rule book, and really I want something a little bit simpler, I think, with minimal bookkeeping and statistics to administer. I'm still looking at this set though, hunting for suitable videos or articles that may yet convince me. In fact, there's a series of videos by Seventh Son that I've just started watching. Hopefully by the end of that I'll be thoroughly convinced that this is the rule set for me. But at the moment, the jury's out. Now, as far as I know, there's no specific Wars of the Roses supplements. However, I do understand that the Perry Miniatures Facebook page has a Wars of the Roses army list by Rick Priestley on it that you can download. So I'll be getting a copy of that and having a read through that. Now, another rule set specifically written for the Wars of the Roses is Test of Resolve. Now, this looks really interesting. I've watched a couple of videos. It's cards driven, relies on adjusted dice for combat. And I've watched a few videos and need to find a few playthroughs to watch through to see if it feels right for me, but that's a very promising possibility. And then one of the other rule sets that often comes up when people are talking about this particular period is Weimar Ancient Battles. It's a little bit harder to get hold of a copy these days that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg or possibly a kidney. But it also looks like it's a fairly big set of rules, a chunky rule book. And again, I wanted something a little bit more streamlined and easier to get into. That being said, it's early days. I'm still considering this as an option, and as usual, I'm looking for some videos just to see how it would work in practice and how easy that rule set would be to adapt to doing 6mm for the period that I want. Another rule set that I'm looking at is Never Mind the Billhooks, a large skirmish rule set, but allegedly can be used to play larger battles. It looks like a relatively simple rule system. It's a booklet rather than a gigantic hardback book. But again, I don't know a lot of information at the moment. That's one of the things I'm going to be looking at over the next few months. And then another rule set that's sort of come into my vision the last few days is Impetus, as a rule set that I've heard of it, but I've never really played or never watched any players playing a game or any videos like that. So again, I need to have a good look at that to see if it's suitable. Apparently, according to one thing that I read, it does include a Wars of the Roses list, so clearly designed with that particular period in mind. So something for me to look at and give some consideration to. Now, I'm sure there are other rule sets, and I will come to that in a second. But of course, my problem is, as usual, too many options. My mind goes into a meltdown, and I find it really hard to make a decision. So I'd love to hear from you. So what do you suggest? Can you recommend any rule sets that I haven't listed to have a look at? Of course, I may not end up choosing the ones you put forward, but at least I can have a look at them if I haven't already. I'm still a long way from finding the perfect rule set, but for a change, at least I'm trying to make a good choice before I spend my money. As I indicated earlier, the decision as to whether I'm going to go down the 6mm Wars of the Roses route is probably, I'm fooling myself if I believe that I'm still trying to make my mind up. I'm going to end up buying them. But what I do want to try and do is pick the right set of rules before I start this project in earnest. So having asked for your help, I just wanted to end by asking which comes first for you, the rules or the period? Are you led to the period by a really good rule set that excites you, or by a really good set of miniatures that excites you? And if it's the latter, as I am in this example, how do you find the perfect set of rules? How do you make the decision whether to go with rule set A or rule set B? And how do you research different rule sets? And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, as always. Please put your examples and any suggestions you've got in there. It'll give me some much needed help in my project to find the right rules for the period that I want to play. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and share. And if you want to keep up to date with weekly content from this channel, please tap the bell notification icon. So until next week, stay safe, keep gaming, and of course, keep rolling high.